The biggest shift a person can make if they want to be a conscious, evolving person, and eventually a happy one, is to take radical responsibility for, I am creating my own situation. I may not know how. I may not want it to be this way. I may not understand what in the world I'm doing to create this situation, but I'm doing it to myself. It's not happening to me. It's happening by me.
Seanydoo. Hello, and welcome to Situaseans podcast. I'm your host, Sean Michael Williams, aka Seanydoo. You can call me Sean, Seanydoo. Does not matter to me. I'm just glad that you all are here, and I have a special guest here, Roy Biancalana. He is, he is a nationally recognized relationship coach and a best-selling relationship author. Roy, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
No, it's great to be here, and I love your opening. That's some good stuff.
Thank you so much. We try to keep it fun over here,
Yeah.
So for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, this podcast is about dating, relationships, mental and emotional life experiences, so all that good stuff. And today we're going to be talking about, breaking some of those relationship patterns and, how to find lasting love and overcoming toxic relationships. And we got some unhinged and some hinged and unhinged listener submissions that you all have been submitting that Roy and I will also unpack. So, I'm definitely excited to, jump in and get started. But Roy, you're coming all the way from Chicago, right?
I am. Where are you?
Yeah, so I'm in Los Angeles, but I'm actually from Chicago. I moved out here a year ago.
Okay. Yeah, good for you. All right.
Yeah. And so, Roy, I definitely, really loved your resume and everything that you do, especially just like, like helping others in their relationships and even just being a best-selling author. Can you kind of just like introduce our listeners to like, who you are and like how you became this expert in everything relationships?
Yeah, Sean, it's I like to say that when I was a little boy, I never dreamed of being a relationship coach. I was like, oh, when I grow up, I want to talk about love and intimacy and connections. No, I wanted to be a baseball player and a fireman and all that kind of stuff. So this is a career, this is a calling for me that I never aspired to or thought I'd be involved in. The way I say it is like the universe sort of just pushed me into it because of my own experience. Okay, so just briefly, I was married for 19 years, and that relationship sort of devolved into a functional, co-parenting, brotherly, sisterly type of relationship. We lost our man-woman connection. We didn't fight much. We didn't F much. We just raised the son together and didn't have much of a connection between us. And I don't think that was satisfying for my ex. It wasn't for me, and I initiated a divorce. And this is where I made my first mistake. There's a couple of big milestone mistakes that perhaps the viewer can relate to. Is that I walked away from that relationship and I didn't look in the mirror at all. I didn't do any work on myself. I didn't consider what I could learn from that relationship. I basically just thought it was my ex-wife's fault. And so I just immediately rebounded into another relationship, which of course was the dead opposite. It was like all sex all the time. Now, at the time, that was quite wonderful because it had been so long for me. But we spent about 2.5 years together and we got engaged. And 6 months before our wedding, she dumped me. And that one, Sean, that broke me. It led to what I consider to be like a year-long midlife crisis. I mean, I was an absolute mess. I couldn't sleep. I lost a bunch of weight. I became a lousy father. My career suffered. That obsessive thinking, heart palpitations. I was just a mess. So you would think at that time that I would have maybe done some work on myself or looked in the mirror a bit. Nope. I did the only thing I knew how to do at that time, which was I'm just going to join about 4 different dating sites. I'm going to find me a new woman to help me forget the last one. And that's what I did. And I actually thought at the time that I was available to someone, that I was ready for a relationship. And so I wasn't at all. When I look back on it, Sean, I was using these new women I was meeting to sort of help me forget the last one. I really wasn't emotionally available to be with them. I was just still trying to get over my ex-fiance. So you can imagine the amount of drama that that caused because I was giving off so many mixed signals and so forth. All right. So now I've got all this online drama going on with women and stuff like that. And I'm talking to a few of my friends about all this. And it's at that point that a friend of mine said, "Hey, Roy, do you think maybe you should talk to somebody, about what's going on for you? Like maybe a coach or a therapist or something?" And Sean, if I'm to be really honest with you and the viewers, I didn't even understand the question. It because in my mind, the problems with my love life were simply because I just haven't met the right woman yet. Right? It never occurred to me that I was the common denominator in all the pictures. It never occurred to me that maybe I had something to do with it. I just thought my picker was broken. I just picked the wrong women all the time, right? And my ex-wife, my ex-fiance, all you crazy women online, I never thought I had something to do with it, okay? So when my friend told me to do that, I decided to give it a shot for 2 reasons. One, I was in so much pain. I thought, "What the hell?" And the other one is I did trust my friend. I really he's the kind of friend, still is, that if he says jump, I say, how high? Because of how much I respect him and the way he lives and the life he's created for himself. So I hired a coach. Okay. I'm getting to answer your question about why I got into coaching. It's coming.
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
for sure, for sure.
All
No,
right.
I love this.
So I hired a coach. And the short part of this is, well, I'll put it this way. When I started talking to her, the first thing, because she knew my story a little bit, first thing she said is, "Roy, if all you want to do is talk about your ex-wife and your ex-fiance and all these crazy women you met online, I'm out. We can end this thing right here. I want to know if you want to talk about yourself. I want to know if you want to look in the mirror and do some work on yourself and maybe discover how you are responsible for the way your love life has gone and is going." And so she challenged me on that. And at first I told her to go F herself because, you know, "You blaming me for all this, saying it's all my fault?" And she was quick to point out, it's like, "I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm saying there's something that you're not aware of. There's something going on in you that's unconscious that is creating what's happening in your life. And I want to know if you want to look for that. And if you do, I'm all in. If you don't, that's fine, but I'm out." Okay. So because I was in so much pain and trusted my friend, I sort of gave her some lip service. "Okay, yeah, I'm willing to look at myself." Okay. And then she sort of forced me to. And Sean, the punchline is it really wasn't them. It really was me all along. I discovered I had some mommy issues that were playing themselves out. Maybe we'll talk about that at some point here, but I discovered that I had some dynamics between me and my mother that were unconsciously playing themselves out in my adult relationships. And so that was so powerful for me to learn that I had so many aha moments. Well, no wonder my marriage was the way it was. No wonder my thing with my ex-fiance was that way. And everything started to make sense when I started to look in the mirror and see what was going on inside of me and how it was creating everything going on in my love life. And that was so powerful that when I learned all this and I was able to work on my mommy issues, I was able to, without too much time, able to meet and date and fall in love with a woman I've now been married to for 17 years. And our
Wow.
relationship is great. And so I became a coach because I'm convinced that there are millions of people out there that are just like me, that think they just haven't picked the right man or woman yet. And they're in a lot of pain and they're in a lot of frustration. And I just said, listen, I want to help you discover what I discovered, because my love life being turned around was not because I got lucky, was not because the gods smiled on me or the stars became aligned. I did a particular kind of work on myself. I asked myself certain questions that are completely transferable. So I just tell people, if you do the work that I did, you can have the same results I got, because the kind of things that I do apply to all of us. And there's things to be discovered if a person is willing to look in the mirror. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm a coach. Just, I'm like one beggar telling another beggar where to find bread.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's just so great that you've been able to help so many people. And it sounds like you're taking on clients from like all over the world, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's not just yeah, one
The,
location. Yeah.
the internet's a wonderful thing, right? Years ago, you had to find a therapist or something in your neighborhood, and you kind of had to hope that they're a good one, right? I mean,
Right.
who knows if that person in your hometown knows what they're doing, but that was your only choice. But now, you know, with Zoom and everything, I mean, you can find the best experts. And when I say expert, I just mean, I think it's always best to find a coach or a therapist that has been through your situation, to use the word. They've been through your situation themselves, so
Hmm.
that they have an experiential knowledge. There's one thing to learn things in a classroom or in books and universities, and I have all that kind of stuff too. But there's something special about working with someone who sort of has been in your shoes, that has been through a divorce and a bunch of rebounds and a bunch of dating disasters and trying to figure out why they can't attract a healthy, lasting relationship. And then they have figured that out. I think those are the best people to show you the way for yourself. And that's kind of what I do with my clients. I'm like, if you want to look in the mirror, it took me a while to get to the point where I was willing to admit that maybe I had something to do with it, which is the biggest shift a person can ever make. Like, let's take the name of your podcast, Situations. So everybody's got a situation.
Yeah.
Most of us think that our situations happen to us. Like, I'm in this situation because of them, because of what they did to me, or because of how that happened and that experience. And it's given me this situation. So we look at our situation from a victim mentality. And I don't
Right.
mean that in a bad way. I just mean from a mentality that something is doing it to me. Something's giving me this situation. The biggest shift a person can make if they want to be a conscious, evolving person and eventually a happy one is to take radical responsibility for, I am creating my own situation. I may not know how. I may not want it to be this way. I may not understand what in the world I'm doing to create this situation, but I'm doing it to myself. It's not happening to me, it's happening by me. And the beauty of taking that kind of radical stance is that it empowers you, because you begin to recognize, okay, if I'm doing this to me, well, then if I have the power to do that, then I have the power to do this. Like, if I can create this situation, well, then I can create a situation I'd like to be in, because life is my own movie. I'm writing the script here. So I can
Exactly.
rewrite this thing if I really am the one writing it. But most of us think, oh no, it's happening to me. I'm disempowered. I can't help it. They did this. My parents did that, all these things. And so then you stay stuck and you stay blaming and you stay miserable. So that big shift from pointing the finger to taking responsibility, that's the key to everything. And it took me a long time and a lot of pain before I was willing to even consider that I had something to do with my love life. Makes me
Wow.
laugh now, but
You came a long way. Yeah, definitely, and it's
oh
good.
my word, yes. Lord. I tell people, Sean, I have made every mistake that you can make in a relation. I've cheated on my ex-wife. I've done everything that I would tell you you shouldn't do. It's a lot of my wisdom comes from, okay, I did that and I tried that and I acted this way and I had that problem. Oh, yep, did that, did that, did that. None of that shit works, right? But
Right.
now I sort of figured out what does, kind of dug it out of the dirt in my own life. And now
Yeah.
I'm here to share it with people, whoever wants it.
Absolutely. Yeah, you are definitely doing like the good work out there. And even
Right.
just oh sorry, go ahead.
I'm trying.
Absolutely. And even so like yeah, you're a best-selling author of relationship boot camp and so even just like that book and like even just being like an author and a writer, what got you into that? What like yeah, I would love to know like the story behind that.
Yeah. Well, I've written 4 books. The one you're referencing, Relationship Bootcamp, is my 3rd, probably my most popular, although my new book just came out like 3 months ago. So we'll see how that goes. But, you know, my books they've just come out of my own experience. My first book I just told my story. It's like a memoir, just my story from all the drama and pain and suffering to a good relationship and, kind of the story I just told. I
Yeah.
expand on it but then my other books have just been sharing the wisdom that I've learned along the way from myself, from my clients, from my own journey, from my training and so forth. And so the book you're talking about, Relationship Boot Camp, is I like that title because it kind of gives you the idea that for a short period of time, like a boot camp, at a local gym, for 6 weeks, we're going to get together. We're going to kick our butts and get ourselves in shape. So it's a short term, kind of intense. You're going to work on yourself and transform your body. And I thought, that's a great idea. What if we did that for our relationship souls, for our relationship lives? A short term, intense, let's work on your relationship muscles, right?
Yeah.
I've identified 7 relationship muscles, you could say. And if these relationship muscles are strong and fit, then you are going to be ready for something healthy and sustainable. But if those muscles are weak and flabby, you're going to be unhappy. You're going to be in relationships that fizzle out, that, you know, are dysfunctional and disappointing. And I know that from my own experience. Yeah, so I wrote this book on the 7 relationship muscles, the 7 areas of our lives that we need to get in shape if we want to be ready for something real. So, really, as a coach, I'm a preparation coach. Like, I want to help people get ready for something real. Like, a lot of people in this field, that's why I don't call myself a dating coach. I don't talk much, Sean, about where to go to meet someone or how to flirt or what to say, how to approach or how to get someone to approach you or what online platform should you use to meet people. I don't talk so much about that because I've learned that the whole key to your love life is getting yourself ready so that whenever life unfolds and you bump into someone, however that might happen, you're ready to connect in a healthy, meaningful way. So that one of the ways I make an illustration of this is just imagine yourself or the viewers that you want to enter a triathlon, right? That day-long intense endurance race. And you want to do well in a triathlon. And imagine further, which is not the truth, that I'm a former Ironman champion. But now I'm retired and I coach aspiring triathletes on how to be successful in triathlons. And so you're a triathlete, I'm a former champion. Hey Roy, could you coach me on how to be successful in my triathlon? I'm like, sure, I'd love to do that. That's what I do. I'd love to do. So we sit down, we start talking. And you start asking me questions about race day. Hey, Roy, how do you survive in the water? Because it's a frenzy. Everybody's swimming. You can drown in there. And then how do you transition from the water to the bike and the bike to the marathon? And man, you're out there all day. So what do I eat? How much do I eat? And, when do I eat? And I'm hearing these questions about race day. And I'm like, okay, these are good questions. And we could talk about them at some point. But man, that's not what you should be asking me about. As a former champion, you should be asking me, how do I get my butt in shape for this thing?
Yeah.
Because you could have the greatest strategy on the day of the race in the world. But if you get on that starting line and you're 50 pounds overweight, you're not going anywhere. It won't matter about your strategy. So you got to get in shape for this first. Then the rest of it really is not that difficult to figure out. And that's what happens with me and clients in
Yeah.
my work. They come to me like, Roy, they have race day questions. Where do I go to meet someone? How do I approach them? And I'm like, okay, those are important questions. That's not what you should be asking me. Roy, how do I get myself in shape so that when I do meet someone, because there is a starting line in a relationship. It might be that first coffee date when you meet somebody online. It might be like it was for me. I sat down next to my future wife at a conference. I just sat next to the prettiest girl in the room. And that's how I met her, right? You might meet someone in an airport, in a bar, at an event. Who knows when you're going to get on your starting line where you're face to face with this potential life partner. And the issue is, are you ready at that moment? If you're not ready, you're going to screw it up, or it's going to go in some predictable pattern that your other relationships have. So the issue is, get yourself in shape so that however the universe unfolds, however God, whatever you want to call it, however it happens, you are ready to connect in a healthy way. And that's the mistake a lot of people make. Like, where do I find them instead of am I ready? Do I have any baggage in my life I need to let go of? Do I have any blind spots? Do I have any childhood conditioning like I did that I need to deal with? Like, am I really ready to connect with someone? And here's the thing, Sean, the ego, the ego's a mess, man. Most of us think we are ready. And judging from our relationship histories, if you have a history anything like mine, that's evidence that you're not.
Yeah.
Because it's not your ex. It's not them. It's not all the crazy people online. No, you might not be ready. And because you're not ready, you're attracting all these patterns and these people who are not ready also. Because that's one of the secrets of attraction. You always attract someone who is as healthy as you are. Always. You'll never attract someone where, oh, I'm way more evolved than they are. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You're always on the same level. You're always as unhealthy, maybe in different ways, right? But you're on the same level. So if you want to attract a healthy partner that you can go deep with and you can trust and you can build a life with, it's not about where do I find that kind of person. It's about if I am that kind of person, they will find me because like attracts like, right? That's the law of attraction. You birds of a feather flock together. So the healthier I am, the healthier person that I resonate with, that I vibrate with, if you want to use a new age term, right? I click with them because we're on the same level. So the whole trick is forget about them. Where do I find them? Get yourself ready, and the rest of it takes care of itself. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, because I know, like, even just in the last relationship that I was in, was like it was like in COVID. So we met in 2020, and then we broke up in 2022. Long story short, I broke it off because we were arguing a lot, and that was pretty much the same thing that I saw growing up with like in my own household. Like my
Oh,
parents were always arguing, and so
yeah.
I had like all these positive outlets growing up, like musical theater and stuff like that that I still do to this day. And my partner at the time, she didn't have these outlets, so we would just find ourselves just combating and just just pretty much almost kind of trauma bonding. And it was pretty much undoing all the work that I was doing on myself. So I was like, okay, I gotta leave because I found myself kind of started to become vindictive. Okay, I'm gonna match her energy. Okay, I'm gonna, not gonna do this then. So
Yeah,
yeah.
right. That phrase trauma bond, that's an accurate term. That's what I'm when I say the law of attraction, that's what I mean,
Yeah.
is my trauma is going to attract a certain other kind of person's trauma. Like my mommy issues
Hmm.
fit with a woman's dynamics. They they
Right.
they like sometimes I describe this dynamic and we talk about patterns in relationships and like most people I talk to, Sean, I don't know about you, but they can point to a certain pattern that they experience in their love life. They keep attracting emotionally unavailable people, or they keep attracting narcissists, or they keep attracting argumentative relationships like you just described, or short-term relationships. Whatever it is, there's usually a pattern. And the key to breaking the pattern is to recognize that all of us come out of our life experience and our childhoods with a certain psycho-emotional shape, you could say. We're like shaped like the piece of a puzzle. Remember you made puzzle as a kid, all these different pieces, and every puzzle piece had a different shape to it. We all we all have a psycho-emotional shape to us, whether it's healthy or not. We all have one. Now, just like a piece of a puzzle, that piece doesn't go with just any puzzle piece. You got to find its match.
Yes.
You got to find its reciprocal partner that fits with it, right? So you can't help if you're shaped a certain way, you'll always find the person that fits you. So if you're an overly empathetic person that has difficulty setting boundaries, saying no, you're so caring, you're so open, you're so loving, and you're like, why do I keep attracting narcissists? Self absorbed people that take advantage. It's all about them. Like, do you see it? It's your shape. You're in an unhealthy, empathetic shape. It goes with a narcissist.
Yeah.
Two narcissists do not attract each other. They don't fit. They would beat the hell out of each other. No, it's about me. No, it's about me. No, it's about me. It won't work. It, a narcissist needs someone when he says, oh, it's about me. They need a partner that says, yes, it is. It is about you.
Right.
I,
Yeah.
I don't matter. Who I am doesn't matter. I'm small. I'm insignificant. I feel unworthy. Those two go together, right?
Yeah.
So the fun of this work is when you start seeing, okay, I keep attracting this kind of partner, but it's because I'm shaped a certain way. And
Yeah.
but here's the kicker. If I can change my shape, then I fit with a whole different person. And that's the work that I did on myself. I discovered that I had a rescuing shape, my mommy dynamic. I had difficulty feeling close to my mother. She was kind of aloof and distant and emotionally unavailable. And the only time I ever felt close to her was when I sort of made my life be about fulfilling her agenda. If I made mommy happy, then I felt some warmth. I felt connection. I felt a smile. But if I went my own way or did my own thing or didn't do something she wanted, I felt distance and pursed lips, and
Yeah.
disconnection. So I learned as a very little boy who wants to be close to his mommy, make your life be about taking care of hers. Okay. Now, I'm 4, 5, 6 years old. I don't know that I'm developing kind of a philosophy of life. Hey, the way you get the attention and affection of a beautiful woman, mommy, is by making your life be about taking care of her. So now I'm 45 years old and I'm meeting women. And within 2 weeks, Sean, I'm cleaning their house. I'm raising her kids. I'm taking them to soccer practice and to tutoring, and I'm doing the dishes, and I'm going to the I am taking because this woman I've met is a high-powered business person. She's kicking ass and taking names, but she's overwhelmed. She can't handle her job and her career and her kids. It's all too much. Well, here comes Roy the rescuer. I'll take care of that for you, baby. Or I'll take care of that for you, mommy, if you would have sex with me, if you give me attention and affection, right? So I started showing up as this rescuer. And when I first started working with my coach, I kept complaining. Why do I keep meeting women who are damsels in distress? Why do I keep meeting women who are kicking ass in their corporate lives, but their whole rest of their lives are falling apart? And they need me to do everything. I don't want to do all that shit, but I
Right.
have to, right? Because I have no problem if a man is a Mr. Mom. That's a beautiful expression if it's coming from love. Like that's the way love wants to express itself is beautiful. Mine wasn't from love. It was from fear. If I'm not that guy, no woman would ever want to be with me because that was my theme about how you get a woman's attention and affection. You just suck it up and take care of her in those ways, even if you don't want to, right?
Yeah.
You're doing it from fear. So I was in this pattern of attracting one damsel in distress after another. And I kept pointing the finger, and my coach said, no, turn that thing around. Dude, it's because you're shaped in a certain way. Your mommy issue is attracting those kinds of women. So you'll always attract those kind of women if you're a rescuer. But let's let go of this rescuing nonsense. That's a persona. That's a childhood survival mechanism. That's not really who you are. That's not your essence, right? That's coming from fear. So let's discover who authentic Roy is. And if you embody that, you won't attract damsels because those two puzzle pieces won't fit anymore.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of work that I think we need to do, especially if we've had a pattern where our love lives are not working, right? Somebody might meet somebody when they're 21. I have a buddy in town just the other day. He met this girl right out of high school. They've been married 34 years. He told me, he said, dude, we've never had a big fight. We've never said things to each other that were like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. We've never really had a fight in 34 years. Okay, fuck you, right? So yeah, that happens for some people, but most
Right.
of us have a lot of drama. And most of us have
Exactly.
to do this kind of work to maybe end up in a relationship like that.
Trying to improve your skincare game? Guess what? I got a little something for you. You can improve the health of your skincare with the Vogue approved. Yes, you heard that right. Vogue, as in Vogue magazines, the models. Yes, that Vogue. The Vogue approved beauty product, Herbal Face Food, the most potent anti-aging, multi-correction skincare product on the market. Yes. So hit that link in the show notes or video description and use our code SPHFF to get 20% off at checkout. Visit herbalfacefood.com to get started. That's herbalfacefood.com. All right. And use code S as in Sam, P as in pineapple, H as in Henry, F as in Frank, F as in Frank to get 20% off at checkout. That's SPHFF to get 20% off. All right. herbalfacefood.com. Okay. Y'all got the hookup. So let them know that Situaseans podcast sent you. All right. You bring up a really great point because even just in my own dating journey and dating on out here, I know like in the past I have encountered some people that would like reveal to me, this is maybe like I don't know, like a month of dating in, and like a few people have revealed, oh, I just got out of a relationship a couple months ago and I'm still healing from that. I'm in the back of my mind, I'm just like, wait, why are we even interacting? Like it sounds like, because like it sounds like you still have a lot to process from what happened before, and it kind of got in the way of us getting to know each other. Because like I don't know, let's say like example, like this one person that I was seeing, this was like 2023, like early 2023. This person, she had said that she was in a relationship with the guy for about a couple years, and by the time she and I started dating for a couple months, she was like, "Yeah, well, if I was so used to like this guy not being really good at communicating, so the fact that you're communicating, it's just something that I'm not used to, and so I don't know, I don't know if this is gonna work." Like, she was just kind of just second guessing everything because she was just
Yeah.
so used to being breadcrumbed and just getting very little from this other person, and then here comes
Right.
me trying to get to know her, and it's just like, oh goodness. So it caused
Yeah.
a spiral for her, and long story short, we had to kind of just go our separate ways.
Yeah. Yeah. So that brings up one of the muscles I talk about in my book, Relationship Boot Camp. It's your relationship to your past,
Yeah.
right? So I often joke that the only people that don't have baggage are the babies in the maternity ward, right?
Yeah.
Because we've, we, we've all got bumps and bruises and scars and wounds. Some are more traumatic and significant than others, but we all have a past. We've been hurt. We've been betrayed, ghosted, gaslighted, cheated on, dumped, divorced. We have that stuff. So the problem isn't that we have a past. The problem is that past something that happened or is the past something that's happening? Meaning, is your
Mm,
past still alive in you,
right.
right? So if it's alive in you, then I'm bringing my baggage and me and you now, we're going to get into a relationship. It's like a menage a trois from hell,
Right.
meaning it's me and it's you and my past. And the three of us are in this relationship.
Exactly.
And really, it's more like a menage a quad, right? Because it's
Right.
me and my past and you and your past, and it's all gets mixed in there, right? And that's just a recipe for disaster and stuff because when our past is alive in us, it makes us guarded. It can make us suspicious. It can make us have difficulty trusting, just like that woman you were describing. Boy, my last relationship, he didn't communicate, and you're communicating. So I don't know, right? All she's not meeting you for the first time. She's meeting you through her ex. Like
Yeah.
she's wearing her ex is a pair of sunglasses, and I'm seeing you through my past, and
Yeah.
it distorts everything, right? So you can become guarded and suspicious and have difficulty trusting and these kind of things. And people can feel that. You can meet someone and know that I don't know what's going on, but they seem distant or they don't seem like they're able to be vulnerable, that they're able to be authentic. I feel like they're holding me at arm's length, or this relationship is going maybe slower than it should. I don't know what's going on. And a person that's pretty healthy is going to walk away from that because I haven't met a healthy person that brings a sledgehammer to a date.
Right.
Nobody wants to break down your walls, right? But when our past is alive in us, we have a wall around our heart and walls, and it might make sense because you've been hurt so bad and nobody wants to get hurt again. So you build this protective shell. Shells keep you safe, but they keep you single. Nobody can get in to hurt you, but nobody can get in to love you either. So at some point, what it means to get ready for something real is I got to deal with my baggage. I got to deal with my past. I've got to let go of that pain. I've got to work through it so that I can meet Sean with a fully available heart. Like I'm here and I'm not seeing you through my past. My past is just something that happened, but I've dealt with it. So it's not happening. It's not alive in me. Right. Then you're able to meet someone and connect and evaluate a relationship and respond to it appropriately rather than something you said there reminded me of what my ex-husband or my ex-wife said and that scares me and so
Yeah.
I'm I'm going to ghost you. But you have no idea of what you think you heard is actually what you think you heard, but you're projecting it, right? You're because it's all see, so this is the ugly stuff that most of us don't ever want to admit is really going on, but it's really what's messing up your love life.
Yeah.
Well, I just tell people with compassion, Of course you've got a past, but it is workable. Like, we don't have time for me to go through how you let go of your past. I have a whole process about that. The book goes through a lot of detail on how to let go of your past. There's a way to let go of your past so that you can have a clean slate, right?
Yeah.
There's a way to do it. Most people just need to know, okay, that is my issue. That's what's blocking me, is that I have trust issues. Makes it difficult for me to be vulnerable and be available, to be playful, to be real, right? Because I'm so afraid of getting hurt. I don't want to be that way. But when you're not vulnerable and playful and spontaneous, you're not attractive. I mean, because you're wrapped up in your fear, right? So there's a way to get there if a person's willing to do that kind of work. And I mean, that's the invitation for people.
Wow, there you go, you all. I know you all like that are listening in and watching, like, these are some important tools that Roy is giving you right now. And I'm hoping that you all are taking this into consideration. And Roy, even just everything that you shared so far relates to so many people, myself included. So I definitely appreciate it. And I guess even just kind of touching on something even deeper, because I know even just touching on like trauma and even just like our baggage that everyone has, what do you think are some ways that people can kind of heal from some of that trauma and toxic dating relationships, and even just some of those repetitive patterns before trying their hand at dating again?
Right. There's a couple of things. So it sort of depends what kind of trauma we're talking about. There is a type of trauma that I say is capital T trauma.
Mm.
That's usually the stuff that happens to you in your childhood, right? Abuse, neglect, abandonment. That stuff can get rooted pretty deep.
Yeah.
That stuff usually needs a little professional help to really work through. I'm not I'm not a therapist that is a trauma specialist if someone's been sexually abused when they were 6 years old or stuff like that, right? So there's that type of thing that might need a special kind of treatment. But then there's the lowercase t kind of trauma that can be dealt with quite easily, although it just takes courage to deal with it. And there's two things to look at. The one thing, part of letting go of this baggage and past pain from being dumped and gaslighted and hurt and betrayed or cheated on, um, is the issue of forgiveness. We could
Yeah.
spend hours on this, right? And there's an understanding that is very hard for someone to swallow who's been cheated on or betrayed in some way. But there's an understanding when you get really conscious and you know what's happening with people and how the mind works and how the human condition is operating, is you begin to see. Let me give you an illustration. Um, Everybody's familiar with or had a puppy come home from a kennel or from a litter. So you get a brand new puppy. Okay. So what's this puppy going to do when you bring this puppy home? It's going to pee on your carpet and it's going to chew on your shoes.
Yep.
Okay. And that's annoying, of course. But you would never say that the puppy is bad. You wouldn't even say the puppy did something wrong. What you would recognize is the puppy is sort of acting from their level of maturity. It's all they know how to do. They don't know yet how to scratch at the door and let you know it's got to pee, right? They don't they don't know. So you can't say bad dog. You can train the dog, but the dog is simply manifesting this level of consciousness, you could say. It's doing the only thing it knows how to do. Okay? If you really think about this, no matter who you are on the planet, me, you, anybody listening to this, we're all puppies. We all have a certain level of maturity. We all have a certain level of consciousness. And we're all doing the only things that we know how to do. Now, just as you can't say that puppy should have known better, what are you talking about? Should have known better. You can't say My ex should have known better. They shouldn't have cheated on me. They should have known better. You can't say that. They're acting according to their level of consciousness. That's how they handle pain. That's how they handle their sexual energy. That's how they, it's just where they are in their lives. It's what they manifested, and it's not personal. When your puppy pees on the carpet, chews on your shoes, it's not personal. It's not like they wouldn't do that to anybody else. Of course they would. It's got nothing to do with you. So the people that have hurt you and your baggage are being done by puppies. You're a puppy. I'm a puppy. I'm still acting and manifesting and choosing and deciding according to my level of understanding. I can't be more evolved than I am. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you see that, you have this forgiveness for everybody and for yourself. Well, shit, I'm doing the only thing I know how to do. Oh, they're just peeing on the carpet and chewing on the shoes. That doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. That doesn't mean you stay with someone. It just means that you break the bonds of hatred and anger and blame. They're just
Yeah.
manifesting what they know how to do. And so have I. I chose that person because I was a puppy. It's the only way I knew how to do it, right? So when you see that, you unhook the blame, which is what keeps your past alive. The blame is what keeps it going. So it unhooks because of that. And then the second piece to let go of your past is really asking yourself, what can I learn from what happened? How is that relationship or that situation? How has that come into my life to teach me something that only it could teach me? What are the lessons? And this is how you know if you meet someone to know if they are beyond their baggage, beyond their trauma, their divorce, their being dumped, their patterns. You might say, so what'd you learn from all that? If they have an answer like I gave you, say, yeah, I got my mommy issues. I don't blame my ex-wife. I don't blame my ex-fiance. Man, without my mommy shit, all that stuff would never have gone that way. I created that. I'm ready for a relationship. But you meet someone and say, oh, my ex was this and that, and they were doing this and they were doing that. They haven't learned anything. They haven't learned about their own part in
Yeah.
what happened. Stay away
Hmm.
because they're going to recreate the same dynamics because they haven't looked in the mirror, right?
Exactly.
So I don't know how your viewers are swallowing that perspective on forgiveness. It's a pretty tough one to swallow. But if you think about it, we're all puppies. Jesus said it from the cross.
Yeah.
He said, Father, forgive them for they know not what they do.
There you go.
He got it. He's like, they think they're doing the right thing. They think they're serving you by crucifying me. Father, forgive them. They're doing the only thing they know how to do. They're operating from their level of consciousness. And so he had forgiveness for them. He didn't blame them, right? So
Hmm.
we can view life like that. That what Trump is doing is a reflection of his consciousness.
Yeah.
What Kamala is doing or would have done is right. It's just doesn't mean we don't take action, doesn't mean we don't walk away from a relationship, but we just don't walk away with blame and hatred and bitterness. It's like, oh, that's what they're doing. It doesn't fit with me anymore. I don't want to
Mm.
be a part of that. But you're not wrong. You're not a bad dog. You're just, you're doing you. And it doesn't work for me anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's important to create those like those boundaries in that distance for your own, mental health and your sanity. That is so
Sure.
important.
Yeah. Right. But you don't walk away dragging your ex with you emotionally,
Yeah.
where they're still in your life and you're still, you're right. You're still feeling it. And
Yeah.
then you're going to project it into your new relationships.
Exactly, exactly. And like this last quick story I'll tell you about myself. So I was married at 26 and I'm sorry, married at 24 and divorced at 26. I'm now 33, but long story short, my fiance had cheated on me a month before the wedding, and the only reason that I found out about it was because some guy had slid in her DMs on Instagram, and one thing led to another, meetups and all this other things. And the guy was blackmailing her. Hey, if you don't keep meeting up with me, I'm going to tell your guy what you're doing. So she pretty much was backed into a corner, told me about it, and it broke my heart. And I was just like, wow, well, how am I ever going to trust a woman ever again? And
Yeah.
so the first year of that marriage, I stayed with it because I was like, okay, maybe I can learn to forget and forgive, because we were dating 5 years prior, families were close, all that stuff.
Yeah.
The second year I had asked for a divorce, and we it was pretty much an easy divorce because we didn't have any assets or kids or anything like that.
Right.
But
Right.
but for like a good year and a year and a half, I'd say, oh yeah, it was very hard to just trust women in general. And like, I'm
Sure.
never the person to be like, oh, let me see what's on your phone, who's texting you. I was never that person. Thank goodness, even after that situation, I was never that person. I was just like, hey, your phone is your business, but
Right.
it took
Right.
me a little bit to kind of learn to trust
Yeah.
women again, and then just going to therapy and kind of just talking it out.
Right.
I learned to
That
trust again, and
Yeah. Yeah, that's an important point. If we have baggage and past pain, it's nothing to be ashamed of. You just need to deal with it, right? But it yeah, we all have that, and it can take some time to work through it, but you wanna free yourself from your own past. It's not just so you can meet somebody else, it's just your own happiness of kinda letting some of that go and learning the lessons from it and, and just rebuilding yourself. So there's no shame if somebody's got some real pain and some real baggage from the past. It's nothing to be ashamed of, but it is stuff to be worked through.
absolutely, absolutely. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, can you do me a really quick favor? Can you please rate and review this podcast? Like hit that 5-star review, because and I do read all the reviews, because this helps me know how this podcast is helping others, and how this podcast is serving you, because this my job as a host is to serve you this podcast the way that you would prefer it to be. We got a couple of hinge and unhinged listener submissions that we wanted you to help us unpack. Would you be willing to do that with us?
I'll give it a shot.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so thank you to listeners for submitting your screenshots and the things you want me and the guest to unpack. So, Roy, for quick context, so I have this anonymous form on my site where listeners, like, they'll submit screenshots or just a story about what they're going through, and they just ask us to unpack it. So this time, we got a couple of screenshots from the dating app Hinge that a woman had saw while she was swiping through the apps. And I think this one is some green flag one. So I'll kind of read it out for us. Are you
All right.
ready?
Yep.
All right. So this first one, so she gives us the context. It says, green flag, a man that can cook from scratch makes me more attracted to him. Signed, come to mama. That is a sign off she used. So the screenshot says, the prompt says, one thing I'd love to know about you is, what do you like to eat? I'll make you something unique just for you. Yes, I mean real food. My favorite dish I make is lobster uh andouille, andouis, andouille carbonara in a creamy sauce, and I make everything from scratch.
I'm
So
ready.
good. So that's what she saw. A guy had put down his profile. Green flag. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds fun. It sounds um romantic in a sense.
Yeah.
Right. I would say you wanna meet that guy for coffee. I
Yeah.
I wouldn't go for a first date over to his house and let him
Yes.
cook for you. I wouldn't do that because you don't know the person from Adam. But it'd be like, I mean, the guy that posts that and that kind of conversation sounds to me like you guys ought to meet up see if there's some chemistry between the two of you.
Absolutely, and maybe they can swap recipes too.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Okay, and this next one, this is a good one. So another green flag. Wow, like typically we get some pretty unhinged ones. So this week,
Yeah, that's what I was expecting more of problems, 'cause
exactly.
the online world can be pretty wild.
Exactly. So this next one, this is another good one here, I think. So this one says, so another listener, she says, she wrote to us, I find this hinge prompt to be funny. He's clearly dated women who found their husbands after breaking up with them. Oh, but at least he's humorous about it. And the sign off is good luck, Chuck movie. Okay, so the prompt on Hinge that this guy put, it says unusual skills, fostering women until they find their forever home. What do you think?
Well, I like his sense of humor, right? I do like that he can maybe joke about himself and be self-deprecating. Yeah, women seem to find their husbands right after they meet me. Um, yeah, so I would love to talk to that guy. He just sounds like he'd be fun, and he might have some good stories, and perhaps he's the kind of guy that is, good relationship material.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And this definitely gives me the vibes of, so like, like especially among like my lady friends, like there's like this saying that they'll say, "Oh, always the bachelorette, never the bride," or whatever. This
right,
is giving like the groom version of
right,
always the
right,
groomsman, never the groom.
right, right, right.
No, that one was really fun. That was really fun. Thank you all for submitting those. If you all want to get involved in the podcast and submit your stuff, go to situationspodcast.com/submit. It's an anonymous form. And yeah, a guest and I will unpack it all for you. So thank you all for doing that. Roy, it was so great having you on, man. Like the amount of knowledge and insight that you have dropped on this episode is like, it is so valuable and I really appreciate it. Are there any last words that you want to share with our listeners to take away from?
Well, I got a little surprise gift for everybody. So on my website, we've mentioned my book, Relationship Bootcamp. It's my third book. I've written a new book. So on my website, I'm giving away Relationship Bootcamp for free. You can just
Wow.
right on my homepage. You'll see on my homepage, it'll say download Relationship Bootcamp. You put your email in there, and the system electronically sends you the e-version of the book. So it's been out for a while, and I kind of feel like it's made all the money it's gonna make, so it's time to offer it like in situations like this. So if you go to Coaching with Roy, that's my website, coachingwithroy.com, right on the homepage, there's a little meme or little graphic that says download Relationship Bootcamp and get the book for free, no questions asked. And on my website is ways you can get in touch with me if you want to talk about coaching and that kind of thing. So I'm pretty easy to find.
All right. There you all have it. So yeah, if you all are watching on YouTube or watching in Spotify, because now you can watch on Spotify, you just saw Roy's website pop up, and we will include all of his links in the description of this episode for you all to go and click and connect with Roy and work with them. Like this is just amazing. Roy is giving you all a free version of this book. Like this is valuable. I hope you all take into consideration, especially all the free knowledge that Roy just dropped here, which is very, 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 very valuable information. Thank you so much, Roy. And
Yeah, thank you, Sean.
like you are the best. You're an official friend of the podcast. And what that
Love
means
it.
is you are welcome to come back whenever you want.
Oh, I'd love to do it sometime for sure. Thanks
Abs-
for having me.
Absolutely. Especially one Chicago man to another Like,
Yeah,
yeah, we got to stick together.
let's do it.
Awesome. Well, whether you all are on a boat, a plane, a train, hey, maybe you could be Roy's neighbor 3 houses down. You could take Situations podcast with you wherever you go. We are everywhere. And yes, get in contact with Roy, work with Roy. He is the best. You all had just heard all this information. So go after it. And yeah, get yourself into shape in the dating world. With that, I will see you all back here for the next episode in a couple of weeks. Woo!